Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
All right, welcome back in here on hour number 2, a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharpe sitting in the host chair for Hunt Palmer. I will be here all the way until Thursday, and then the entire company out on Friday. Get us a little extended 4th of July weekend. Joining us on the phone right now from 247 Sports, it is our guy, Zack Nagy. Zack, what's going on today, man?
Doing good on this end, man. Really excited to be on here talking ball with you. Recruiting scene is buzzing right now. I'm ready to dive into it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the recruiting scene, Zack, somebody by the name of Znaggy20 on Twitter over the weekend, I don't know if you know who that guy is, put out a tweet that kind of got a lot of traction. Jalen Brewster, currently committed to Texas Tech, number 1 player in the country, but reported now by you that it is down to, looks like, LSU and Texas Tech. In your opinion, where do things stand for the Tigers right now?
Yeah, apologies, Taylor. I can't really hear you too well. There's a lot of background noise, man. So sorry about that.
Jalen Brewster, where do things stand for him with the Tigers?
Yeah, man. This is a really exciting recruitment for him. Obviously, you got LSU, Florida, and Texas Tech as that trio of schools that were really in the mix for him. And then, ultimately, it's LSU and Texas Tech that are becoming those 2 programs that are emerging down the stretch. LSU put out a really strong pitch together for him and really blew him away when he was in town earlier in June on that official visit. Fast forward to the final official visit weekend of June, he got back up to Lubbock, checked in with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They upped the ante once again, and this is closing in on a 2-team race down the stretch. And this is one where he has continued to tell me time and time again that he loves what Ed Orgeron is doing behind the scenes. He loves Lane Kiffin. He loves the developmental aspect, of course, in the boot. And now here we are, where he's beginning to close in on a decision between 2 schools, being LSU and Texas Tech, where LSU is going to continue to push down the stretch, try to flip the number 1 prospect in America.
Hey, Zach, real quick, the background noise, is it fixed now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, moving on from somebody that you think has a chance to still go to LSU to somebody who committed elsewhere in the past few days. Albert Simeon, the big offensive lineman. A lot of people thought LSU had an opportunity there. He kind of surprises everybody. Some people thought LSU, others thought maybe Texas A&M. He picks Notre Dame. He picks the Irish. I mean, after that announcement, is LSU giving up? Are they moving somewhere else? Or is this one that, hey, we're going to keep fighting to the very end?
Yeah, look, man, Albert Simeon's one heck of a player. And obviously the top-ranked interior offensive lineman in Louisiana, where LSU, Notre Dame, you throw in Nebraska, Ole Miss, etc., we're really swinging for the fences. And a lot of people thought that Texas A&M had the steam going into that decision. But after catching up with him last week, it became extremely apparent that Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame were swinging for the fences in order to get this one done. And fast forward to that decision being made, of course, last Friday, Notre Dame got it over the finish line. LSU feels strong in the 2 commitments that they have right now, headlined by Terrence Smith, the number 5 offensive tackle in America. They believe in what he can do, of course. And now we'll see if they circle back on Albert Simeon, a really strong, talented player that is the top-ranked player in the state of Louisiana in the trenches. But right now this program feels extremely strong in their pursuit of Kelsey Adams, keeping Terrence Smith locked in, and, of course, Amaziah Sial, who they flipped from Cal last month as well.
Zack Nagy, Go 247, joining us right now. Zach, I actually saw you put this out on 247 Sports about, guys that LSU needs to land. And one of the names you mentioned, Easton Royal. Look, despite being committed elsewhere, Zach, I keep hearing a lot of people have a lot of confidence about Easton Royal. What are your thoughts on him and potentially wearing that purple and gold?
Yeah, absolutely, Taylor. I mean, they're continuing to swing for the fences on the recruiting scene right now. You're up to 14 new commitments, of course, in the hall. But now you want to try to lock in these big-time heavy hitters. And it starts with the likes of Greedy James. It starts with the likes, of course, of Easton Royal, Jalen Brewster, etc. And now, of course, we're going to sit here and see what Easton Royal does. He's a really talented player. And now, as you kind of see what he does, it's going to be intriguing. LSU has put themselves in really strong position, sitting alongside, of course, the Texas Longhorns and Florida Gators. Sources have indicated to me that this is a really strong two-team race between LSU and Texas. You know, everybody's sitting back and saying Jalen Brewster this, Jalen Brewster that when it comes to Texas Tech and LSU. But everybody, of course, is waiting to see what happens with Easton Royal. And for me, I think that they've put themselves in really strong position. It's just a matter of when, not if, he could ultimately get over the finish line here.
Moving to the defensive side of the ball, Jaden Anding, DB out from Ruston. Look, obviously the connection is there, right? And he was on campus for a visit recently. With that connection being what it is here from the state, we know about Aiden Anding from Ruston as well. How big of a priority is he for Blake Baker, Corey Raymond, Kiffin, everybody on the staff?
Yeah, Jaden Anding's the top priority in the defensive backfield right now. That safety slot is one where they're looking to continue to lock in players. They're trending behind the scenes for Jaden Anding and, of course, Davion Jones. But right now, of course, Jaden Anding is that top guy that you're looking to get on board right now. He's set that decision date for July 1. And now it's about seeing if they can beat out the Ole Miss Rebels. I have a crystal ball prediction in for LSU to get this one done. This is the number one safety in the state of Louisiana, and they're really, really pushing to get him over the finish line. I firmly believe that'll be the case.
What about somebody that's already committed, but, Zach, we had the Elite 11 over the weekend. All the hype I hear is about Peyton Houston, you know, and I understand he's a little bit under 6 feet, he's a little bit undersized, but he's a guy that continues to soar in the recruiting rankings. Just how high do you think he could finish in these rankings when it's all said and done?
Taylor, I'll tell you what, man. Peyton Houston is that guy. And everybody wants to use the height narrative surrounding him just because he's under 6 feet tall and all that. But every time he goes to these camps and these prestigious events, whether it's the Elite 11 finals, the opening finals, he shows out just about every single time. And the narrative surrounding him was, of course, that accuracy that he has. But nobody was talking about his arm strength, where he made his way up to Beaverton, Oregon this past weekend and dominated, throwing 67 yards, beating out some of the top signal callers in America in that competition. So now you pair his accuracy with his arm strength, what he can do as a dual threat signal caller as well, and continuing to impress evaluators in attendance. The question being, will he get that fifth star? Look, time will tell on that, and the height narrative is always going to be surrounding Peyton Houston, and it's unfair. But I believe that he could get up there and continue to soar in the rankings. He's number 9 in our rankings with 24/7 Sports. I would not be surprised to see him finish things out as a top 5 signal caller in the class. We'll just see if that kind of lands him with that fifth star that everybody's waiting to see.
Zach, what is it about Houston? Because, you know, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the state. Like, obviously, right down the road from LSU at Dunham High School, you have Elijah Haven. It just seemed like with Brian Kelly's staff, also moving over to Lane Kiffin's staff, 2 different coaching staffs have prioritized this guy, really seems like over anybody else in this class. What is it that makes Peyton Houston so special?
Yeah, I think Peyton Houston is extremely ready right now. I mean, you look at what he does in 5A football, playing for Evangel. I mean, he is an absolute dominant force on the field. He can do it with his legs. He's productive with his arm. He's polished, and he's ready to roll. Elijah Haven, of course. I mean, he's one heck of a ball player, too, and there's a reason why he's rated so highly by our 24/7 Sports staff. But when you look at the staff under Brian Kelly back in the past, what Lane Kiffin's new staff as well, look, they're very high on Peyton Houston for good reason. So that being, they think they're getting an amazing football player, which they are, and they're getting a guy that's extremely ready, polished, ready to roll. And now you got to get him, of course, to Baton Rouge and get him to sign the dotted line in December, which all signs point towards that, of course. But you're getting a guy that's going to come in on day one and compete. He's not scared of the smoke, and he's going to continue to prove that time and time again during these prestigious events, and carrying that, of course, into a senior campaign where he's looking to get a ring for Evangel.
Just one more for you here, Zach, before we let you go. Zack Nagy, our guest right now. Look, we've talked about some of the big name guys, but is there maybe an under-the-radar player you're like, hey, LSU fans, keep an eye out on that guy?
Yeah, that's going to be Devon Smith, a really talented linebacker out of the Lone Star State. LSU put a full-court press on him in June. He's committed to the Arizona Wildcats right now, but LSU has continued to push behind the scenes for him. This will be a guy that I think it'll roll into the fall. We'll see that senior season eval. But Devon Smith is a really talented three-star linebacker who's beginning to get a ton of Power 4, Power 5 interest, whether it's Utah, Arizona, Pitt, etc. He's committed to the Arizona Wildcats right now, but LSU is certainly making their presence felt in his recruitment. Came in town on an official visit during the weekend of June 19th, blew him away, and I think now they're going to continue to push for him heading into the fall, and we'll see what ultimately unfolds with him. Taylor, he's a super talented player. This program and their recruiting approach aren't necessarily investing at the linebacker position right now. Of course, they're going for more premium positions like the wide receiver room, defensive line, etc. But we'll see what happens with Devon Smith. I think he's one heck of a ball player in himself, and excited to see how his process unfolds, to see if LSU puts a foot on the gas and tries to get him in this 2027 recruiting class. That has 14 commitments right now, but this week is set to be a really strong one for them, and I'd expect multiple commitments to pop for this program in the next 72 to 96 hours.
Zack Nagy joining us here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Zach, before we get you out of here, tell folks where they can see your stuff, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter or X, whichever one you'd like to call it. That's at ZNagy20. Putting out a ton of recruiting buzz right now. Like I was saying before, expecting a really strong week for this program over the next 72 to 96 hours. Then you can find us at GEAUX247. That's at Go247 on Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it, Facebook. A ton of buzz on socials, of course. And then if you're like my parents and you're not on socials, just punch it in your nearest search engine, man. GEAUX247. Subscribe. We got a 50% off annual promotion right now. And find out all the latest scoop we got right now. It's a really exciting time for LSU recruiting. A ton of buzz surrounding the purple and gold.
That's Zack Nagy, Go247. Zach, thanks so much for hopping on today, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. You have a good one.
Yep, absolutely. That was Zack Nagy. If LSU could flip Jalen Brewster from Texas Tech, I would be one happy camper. Look, I got a list of about 5 or 6 teams in college football that I just flat out don't like. I have different reasons for different teams. Texas Tech's rising up that board. Like, if they weren't as irrelevant as they were, they would already be on it. Like, Joey McGuire, fake tough guy energy. Like, I'm done with him. The way they handled this Brendan Sorsby situation, like, I'm not even saying it's their fault that they brought him in. Like, hell, he was on Baton Rouge. He was at LSU's campus. I mean, LSU had some interest in him. I get it. But the way they handled that whole situation, PR-wise, acting like the victim in the whole thing, like, I'm done with Texas Tech. I mean, I see, like, Texas Tech Twitter is unhinged. Like, for a program that's never won anything. I saw something the other day of a guy had committed to Texas. Doesn't really matter who it is. Texas Tech fans were saying, oh, well, that's what happens when you buy your players. Like, excuse me, sir, what? That's what you do. You're Texas Tech. You think they're going there for the prestigious conference or the championship aspirations? No, they're going there because you dropped the bag, which is fine. It's legal now in college athletics. Just lean into it. Don't act like you're the victim in everything and nobody wants to see you succeed. Nobody cares about Texas Tech. If we could flip Jalen Brewster from Texas Tech, as someone who grew up an LSU fan, that would make me very, very happy. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, we're talking some New Orleans Saints next here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The
They
Hunt
got
Palmer
deals.
Show.
Stavery Chevrolet GMC has got some savings for you, and I am going to tell you about them because if you'd like to get by and take a look, you can certainly do it. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can get a 2026 Chevy Silverado at 0% APR financing from now until the end of the month. That's not a long time. You got a week and a half, but 0% APR financing on 2026 Chevy Silverados for 36 months. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 at 2.9 financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Great deals on Silverados and Sierras, and got some vehicles that are potentially really affordable. Chevy Trailblazer, Chevy Trax, as low as $30,000 over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So if that's the price range you're looking at, go see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They're also online at FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2 here on a Monday edition of Off the Bench. We got about 40 minutes or so left with you here on this Monday. Taylor Sharpe filling in for Hun Palmer, Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali along for the ride as well. Look, we have talked a lot of college sports, whether it's been LSU football, LSU baseball, Brendan Sorsby and his latest issues with whenever the heck that story's going to end. I'm kind of just ready for that to be over with. Right now, I want to switch our focus to the New Orleans Saints. Our guy Ross Jackson at LouisianaSports.net put out this article late last week, and he said rookie Jeremiah Wright already impressing the Saints coaching staff out there in the offseason. He said during mandatory minicamp, he caught up with Saints running game coordinator TJ Paganetti discussing, what they're going to do moving forward. And he said a guy that really jumped out to him was a Jeremiah Wright. He said, in my opinion, he stood out at the Senior Bowl more than anybody else. That was in passing off games and protection drills, which sometimes really the defensive drill. And then in the running game, I thought he was phenomenal as well. He took good angles, matched up to his film at Auburn, did a really nice job over him. And he goes on and on and on. You can find this at LouisianaSports.net. The reason I think that it's important that Jeremiah Wright is already impressing the coaching staff is because he might be the most important rookie that you drafted in this class. I understand you need Jordan Tyson to work out. You invested a top 10 pick in him, and when healthy, we've talked about it here, we talk about it on the morning show, I'm sure Scone talks about it in the afternoon. When healthy, he was the best wide receiver in that 2026 NFL draft. For me, by a pretty wide margin. The main concern is his health. Now, he's been out there some days during offseason workouts. He hasn't been out there others. Who really knows what's going on? But you hope Jordan Tyson works out. You need it. Because that's going to make Chris Olave that much better. Olave is a guy that in last year's offense, when he's playing next to a Ronnie Bell, a Mason Tipton, Devon Vele was kind of the only weapon, Jawan Johnson, but I mean, it was kind of slim pickings out there. What exactly a lineup of all pros out there helping out Chris Olave. Defenses had to key in on him, and he still put up numbers. Imagine what he could do with a big, talented, athletic receiver on the other side of him, like a Jordan Tyson. And if Devon Vele works out, you can put your two big-bodied guys, Tyson on one side, Vele on the other. Let Chris Olave do work out of the slot. Justin Jefferson's great there. Amon-Ra St. Brown's great there. Puka Nakua's great there. I'm not necessarily comparing him as a one-to-one to any of those guys, but those are guys that kill defenses and put up crazy numbers out of the slot. Maybe Olave could do the same. But I think Jeremiah Wright might be the most important player in this rookie class because you have a Cesar Ruiz problem right now. And Wright could potentially solve that problem. I have seen enough of Cesar Ruiz. I thought it was a bad pick when you made it. You drafted a guy in the first round who was primarily a center at Michigan. The year after, you drafted a really good center in the second round in Eric McCoy. You immediately moved him to right guard. He's never looked fully comfortable there. He's had his moments. I mean, it's not like he's been awful every single game. It's been more bad than good, in my opinion. But that's a guy you invested a first-round pick in, and he really just hasn't worked out for one reason or another. He hadn't been great at run blocking, been a liability in pass blocking. If Jeremiah Wright wins that starting job, all of a sudden you got a young and very, very talented offensive line protecting Tyler Shuck. We saw what Shuck did the back half of last year with a makeshift offensive line that included Trevor Penning until you traded him and a guy like Cesar Ruiz. And Eric McCoy was in and out of the lineup with injury. I mean, really, the only two guys from a year ago that were protecting Shuck were your bookend tackles in Taliesin Fuaga and Kelvin Banks. The middle three was kind of your turnstile. If Wright can earn that starting job at right guard, you kind of feel good and almost optimistic about your offensive line if you're a Saints fan. Because if it's right, look, we'll go left to right. Kelvin Banks at left tackle looked really good as a rookie a year ago. Right now, you believe he is the long-term future at left tackle. David Edwards, who you spent more money on in the offseason than anybody else. I mean, he was the highest-rated guard in free agency. You went and got it. That replaces a Trevor Penning, who, thank God that experiment's over. Eric McCoy, if he could stay healthy at center, has been super, super consistent for you when he's on the field. Then you look at a Jeremiah Wright at right guard, and then Taliesin Fuaga at right tackle. That's a young, talented offensive line right there. You got a veteran piece in the middle. and Eric McCoy and David Edwards. Two really, really young but talented left tackles. Fuaga, hard to believe, going into his third year. Kelvin Banks will be in year 2 in the Kellen Moore offense. And then Jeremiah Wright, who you got in the middle rounds of this draft, but I think could wind up being an absolute steal if he earns that starting job. I am really excited about the possibility of Jeremiah Wright. Because look, you invested into Travis Etienne in the offseason as well. You gave him a pretty decent contract. You still have Alvin Kamara on this roster. I think you're talented at running back, whether Kamara's on this team or not. Like, if Kamara's there, you got Travis Etienne, Alvin Kamara, Devin Neal, if he could stay healthy, Audric Estime. Anything you get from Kendre Miller at this point is a bonus because he can't stay on the field. I don't think you can rely on him. Oh, and then you brought in Ty Chandler in the offseason as well, who's had moments in the NFL. But even if Kamara's not on the roster, Travis Etienne, Audric Estime, which I hope sticks around. I actually thought he did some pretty nice things late in the year for you. Ty Chandler, if he makes the team. Devin Neal, if he could stay healthy. You can take Kendre Miller out of the equation. It doesn't even matter. That's 4 pretty solid backs right there. Their issue last year is they had nowhere to run because you didn't have an offensive line. If Wright can earn this job, those 5 guys up front, I think your offense looks a heck of a lot different. It opens up things in the running game, which takes more pressure off of a Tyler Sharpe. And he's got more confidence back there in the pocket because he's got a hell of a lot more time to throw the ball. I would be really, really excited if Jeremiah Wright won that starting guard spot over a guy like a Cesar Ruiz. And I think that's the battle to watch all offseason into the preseason before game 1 starts. Outside of him, though, I was looking at it a little bit yesterday. Like, outside of Jeremiah Wright, what rookies do you hope can make an early impact? Obviously, Jordan Tyson. If he is fully healthy, he is going to be one of your top 3 receivers. There's no question about that. But I'm looking at a different receiver in this class. I'm looking at a guy like Bryce Lance. He is 6'3". He's 205, 210 pounds. And he's not just a big body. He ran a 4.34 40-yard dash, a 41.5-inch vertical jump. Played at an FCS powerhouse in North Dakota State. He knows how to win big-time games. They're actually moving up a level to the FBS level this year. But last season, Bryce Lance, 51 catches, over 1,000 yards. In 2024, he was honestly even better. 75 catches, 1,071 yards, and he led the FCS with 17 receiving touchdowns. He hadn't been a flash in the pan. He has been a big-time playmaker at North Dakota State for 2 years in a row. He's a guy a lot like a Jeremiah Wright you got in the middle rounds of this draft. A very good value pick. I think this guy has a chance to be really, really good. I'm really excited to see what he can do. Because all of a sudden your receiver room gets deep as well. If Olave and Tyson can stay healthy, that's your top 2. Can Devon Vele build off of what he did last year? Because once Shuck took over that offense, there were flashes. They had a decent connection at times. A lot of times on third down, Tyler Shuck, he found Devon Vele, and Vele made the play. So there's 3 guys. Jalen Polk, excited to see what he can do. He's a guy that had a lot of hype coming out of Washington, has struggled to get on the field in the NFL due to injury concerns. You still have Trey Palmer. And then Bryce Lance. Let's not forget Barryon Brown, who, even if he's not a receiver, probably make this team as a returner. I mean, I just threw out 7 guys last year. Right now, 2 of them were on the team a year ago. Polk and Palmer weren't healthy enough to contribute consistently. Lance is new. Barryon Brown's new. Jordan Tyson's new. Like, you had Olave, Devon Vele, and a bunch of plug-and-play guys that people were less than thrilled about. You could completely revamp that wide receiver room, and I think there's a chance that Bryce Lance is a big part of it. Bryce Lance and Jeremiah Wright, I think those 2 guys, rookies to watch this offseason for the New Orleans Saints. All right, we're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, CBS Sports put out an article about college football playoff predictions, and I got a few issues with it. We're breaking it down next here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com is that website. Look, storm season is around the corner. Maybe you don't feel like you need a new roof. You don't have any leaking issues that you know of. The roof's a little bit older, but you don't see it discolored. It's not giving you problems. But you're a little bit nervous what a storm might do. Well, they don't have to put a new roof on. They can at Lifetime Roofing, but they can come over and they can do a tune-up to reinforce that roof. So you feel like you've got more peace of mind as storm season approaches. It's just part of our life down here in South Louisiana. We know storm season can be rough. We've had a couple of quiet ones in a row. I hope there's 10 more to come just like it. But I think we all know that that's unlikely. If you want to take care of that big investment, which is your house, take care of the people under your roof, which is the most important thing in your life, and want to make sure that your roof is in the best shape it can be to do that, Lifetime Roofing is a company you can trust. They're Baton Rouge-based, Louisiana people, give you a lifetime workmanship warranty. It's Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com. FABT.com. Bank local. They've been local at First American Bank and Trust for 116 years. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. 116 years they've been here, and they've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you, whether you're around Baton Rouge and Dutchtown or Jones Creek, maybe up I-12 in St. Tammany and Tangipahoa, down the Bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, over in the New Orleans area, and Metairie. First American Bank and Trust is here in every single decision they make. All the decisions are made locally. So the people that are making decisions based on your commercial loan, your personal loan, are right here in the state of Louisiana, in Southeast Louisiana. You're not just a line item for somebody who's checking something in Atlanta or Sacramento. Right here in Southeast Louisiana. So stop in one of the branches, conveniently located, 25 of them, or check them out online at FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust.
All right, welcome back in. Monday edition of Off the Bench. Got about 25 or so minutes. Up the Hunt Palmer Show. Thank you, Cassie. Almost went a whole show. I almost went a whole show without calling it Off the Bench, and I just couldn't do it. 2 segments left. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, one job.
Dude, couldn't
One
make
job.
it happen. Could not make it happen. Look, I hear Off the Bench in my sleep, okay, Braxton? Like, it is drilled into my brain permanently, all right? Look, this being the first slip up, to me, is impressive. Okay, you had higher expectations
you got a lot
than
going
I
on
did.
at home. I mean, you got to wake up early, so you got to get up here 6 a.m. probably.
I got a little bit going on.
Yeah.
We got a little bit going on in the Sharpe household. Here on the Hunt Palmer Show, got about 20 minutes left with you. Brad Crawford of CBS Sports put out an article yesterday saying 10 college football playoff guarantees for 2026. And I disagree with a couple of them, including number one. He said number one guarantee for the college football playoff in 2026, Notre Dame accepts the villain role. He says disdain for the Fighting Irish will come easy this year. I've always had disdain for the Fighting Irish, and not because they are flawed, quite the opposite. Notre Dame once again positioned as a legitimate national championship contender. Stop right there. That's the reason I've never liked Notre Dame. I don't like Notre Dame because Notre Dame has been this media darling for years and years and years now, and I cannot figure it out. See, I never considered Notre Dame a legitimate national championship contender because I'm not stuck in the 1970s, which is pretty much the last time they were a perennial power. Like, they've had years, sure. They went to the national championship under Marcus Freeman, didn't go great. Brian Kelly took them to the national championship. Alabama stomped them. Outside of that, there's, in my lifetime, I'll be 30 years old in September. I've never seen Notre Dame have any success as far as like the pinnacle of college football. Maybe that changes this year. A lot of people are high on CJ Carr, but also I think as a fan who's not super locked in on Notre Dame, like I watch Notre Dame a lot, but when do fans start saying, is Notre Dame good, or is this just the media hyping them up year after year after year? It just seems like that always happens. Also, does anybody care about Notre Dame enough to make them the villain? Like, I don't. If there's a villain in college football this year, I don't think it's Notre Dame. Like, again, I don't like Notre Dame, full disclosure, but I don't like them any more or less going into this year. There's a team a few miles down the road that a lot of people have been bashing all offseason. What if LSU plays that villain role? I think they could do it well. I think Lane Kiffin's done it a number of times in his career already. I think he thrives on that. There's so many people that still can't get over the fact that Lane Kiffin dumped Ole Miss for the prettier girl. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And you can say, oh, well, he shouldn't have left them during the college football playoff. Lane Kiffin said multiple times he didn't want to do that. That was an Ole Miss decision. And I get it. They had to make a decision for their best interest. I understand. It's poor timing. It's a tough situation for everybody, but let's not put all the blame on Lane Kiffin. That's a guy that's going to take a lot of heat this year. We talked about Brendan Sorsby a little bit earlier. The way Texas Tech's PR team handled that situation, you don't think they're going to be the villain of college football? Like, I'm good with Notre Dame being disliked because I feel like there's always a little bit of that going on. But to say, oh, well, Notre Dame's going to play the villain role because there's a chance they're actually good this year. Does anybody care enough to make Notre Dame the villain? I don't. Notre Dame's pretty irrelevant to me until they prove to me that they can get over the hump and get back to winning a national championship. Sure, fine. Like, Notre Dame really doesn't concern me that much. Like, when Albert Simeon committed on Friday, I was like, oh, man, LSU didn't get Albert Simeon. Ah, well, he went to Notre Dame. We'll probably never see him unless it's in the college football playoff. Like, he didn't go to Texas A&M or Alabama or Ole Miss or a team you're going to play year in and year out. Notre Dame's just, I think to the average college football fan, Notre Dame's just kind of irrelevant. Like, I don't think that many people care. Number 2 is ACC flexes with a second college football playoff team. I find that hard to believe. But Miami's obviously the clear front runner. I get that. And with Darian Mensah, like, Mario Cristobal has done a good job of bringing in QBs. Right? Like, he had Cam Ward, then he goes to Carson Beck, now he's bringing in Darian Mensah. Like, props to you. Turning in a little bit of a QB factory down there in South Beach. Crawford mentions SMU as a possible team. Maybe. And yes, Kevin Jennings going into year 3 as a starter was great year 1, took a step back last year. I think Rhett Lashley's a good coach, but, I mean, what does that look like? They had a good year 2 years ago. They made the playoff. Last year, they kind of failed to live up to expectations. Louisville has a good roster. CJ Bailey at quarterback. That's an option, but is the college football playoff really going to pick those teams over a third or a fourth SEC team or a third or a fourth Big Ten team? In the past, they've proven that they won't. So I don't know why this year would be any different. Number 3, he has several teams complain in the SEC about being left out of the playoff. I can see that happening, one, because any team in any conference is going to complain when they get left out of the playoff, especially if they're sitting there right on the bubble, but also 9 conference games, it's going to be a little bit tougher for the SEC. Like, you're pretty much guaranteeing half your league an extra loss. So, yeah, there are going to be some SEC teams left out. I can absolutely see that because of that 9-game schedule. That cuts, record-wise, the amount of teams in half that have a realistic shot at the college football playoff. Heck yeah, there's going to be some 9-3 teams upset. There were some 9-3 teams upset 2 years ago. You had South Carolina, Alabama, and Ole Miss all complaining, claiming that they deserved a seat at the table. All of them were 9-3. My thought was, I mean, don't lose to bad teams and you won't get in. But, I mean, they all had legitimate arguments. I get it. It's going to be even more so this year. I say all that to say this, though. Like, okay, here you go. LSU. Finally getting to them. LSU has the highest year-over-year increase in viewership. One, LSU is already one of the most premier brands in college football. But look at what they're doing. Game day coming to Baton Rouge week 1 for the Clemson game. Then, September 19th, you go to Oxford, Mississippi. You don't think that is going to be an intense atmosphere in Vaught-Hemingway with Lane Kiffin coming back into town? So pair a tough schedule and a bunch of premier matchups that are probably going to be in prime time with the fact that LSU is already one of the premier programs in college football, and add Lane Kiffin to the equation. I think Brad Crawford nailed this one. I mean, if LSU wasn't already one of the most watched teams in the country, they're going to be next year. Lane Kiffin is absolute box office. There's people out there that love him. There's people out there that hate him, but they all watch. Clemson, game day. Ole Miss, that's probably going to be game day, I think. In Oxford, like, they start the season swinging, and then they play a bunch of big-time teams. You still have Alabama. You still have Texas A&M. The Longhorns. You got them coming to town. Like, there's some big-time games and some big-time moments for this LSU team this year, who was already a premier program, and adding Lane Kiffin to the equation. Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I agree with them on that. I think the SEC is going to have a few teams complaining that they get left out. LSU is going to be probably the most watched team in college football this year, and I'm all for it. But as far as Notre Dame playing the villain role in college football, I think LSU and Texas Tech, to the outside world, appears to be more villains than Notre Dame. And honestly, as someone who's not in that area of the country, I don't care about Notre Dame. Like, they are not at the top of my concern list. Texas Tech isn't either, but I think they did more this offseason to leave a bad taste in college football fans' mouth than Notre Dame did. All Notre Dame did a year ago was cry that they didn't get in the college football playoff and punish themselves and their own team by not accepting the bowl invite. That's all Notre Dame did. Didn't bother me any. You want to cry and not go play in a bowl game? Go cry and not play in a bowl game. I don't care. My team's in it. My team's not opting out of the bowl game because they didn't get in the college football playoff. So be it. I don't think Notre Dame's relevant enough for most people to care about that. Look, we're going to take a timeout. When we get back, we're closing this thing out like we do every day with a little take it or leave it.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
They got deals. Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got some savings for you, and I am going to tell you about them because if you'd like to get by and take a look, you can certainly do it. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can get a 2026 Chevy Silverado at 0% APR financing from now until the end of the month. That's not a long time. You got a week and a half, but 0% APR financing on 2026 Chevy Silverados for 36 months. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 at 2.9 financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Great deals on Silverados and Sierras, and got some vehicles that are potentially really affordable. Chevy Trailblazer, Chevy Trax, as low as $30,000 over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So if that's the price range you're looking at, go see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They're also online at FabryChevrolet.com. FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Guarantee Health Solutions. Guarantee Health Solutions, guiding healthcare forward. GuaranteeHealth.com.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharpe with you here. Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali. Thanks for riding along with us here today. Look, I'm going to be with you all week long until Thursday. Friday, everyone at the whole company out. They were gracious enough to give us Friday off since 4th of July is on a Saturday. So we got a little 4-day work week, working towards that 3-day weekend. We got one more thing to do today. We do it every single day around this time. Let's hit some take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave
My apologies. So, O.J. Simpson will not be on the Hall of Fame in the Buffalo Bills' new stadium. Simpson's name was displayed in the Bills' old stadium as part of the Wall of Fame that was created in 1980. He was the first member inducted. Is this the right move? Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm going to take this one. I think if you're going to leave somebody off the list of the new Buffalo Bills Hall of Fame, I think the juice is a correct one to do. Look, guilty, innocent, not my place to say.
Right.
I get what the verdict was. A little bit too controversial. Like the risk kind of outweighs the reward here. Like what are we actually doing? I'm good with it. They chose not to. For a long time, they were pressured to take his name out of the old Wall of Fame. They didn't do it because it was already up there. Makes a lot of sense they didn't include it on the new one.
He's still in the Hall of Fame.
I think this is the right move, though.
Yeah. Let's see. So, Alan Jackson played his final live show over the weekend in Nashville.
Oh, I know.
Biggest case of FOMO you've ever experienced. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, take it. Absolutely.
I'll take it.
If you listen to OTB enough, you probably heard this before. Alan Jackson is my favorite country singer of all time.
Did not know that.
By a wide margin. Yeah, I think Remember When is one of the best country songs ever made. And I grew up on country music. Yeah, that was a big FOMO for me. Wife had to get pregnant and we missed the show, right? No, it was also like real expensive to get there. I mean, I was seeing like $1,000 a ticket because George Strait walked out on stage. They did some of their hits together, which is awesome. Like a bunch of country music legends. It wasn't just Alan Jackson, but yeah, the fact that it's his last live show, the fact they did it in Nashville is awesome. But yeah, huge FOMO on my part. I am a huge Alan Jackson fan.
So the Golden State Warriors are planning a pursuit of LeBron James, the free agency, and Anthony Davis via trade this week. So opening up the flexibility for such a possibility after Draymond Green declined his $27.6 million player option Monday morning. If this blockbuster move comes through, it'd be one for the ages with LeBron and Steph on the same team. This being said, a Curry, LeBron, Anthony Davis super team would be the greatest big three in NBA history. Take it or leave it.
First off, hang on. Let me look at my calendar real quick. I'm trying to find out what year it is. Oh, it's 2026. Yeah, leave it. If this was like 5 to 6 years ago, man, I'd be fired
I
up.
agree.
I'd
If
be
they
like,
were
bro,
all in their prime,
you want to talk about a
100%.
dream team? Curry's out of his prime. LeBron's about to be 42 years old.
Yeah.
I don't even think he likes playing basketball anymore at
He's
this
more
point.
into golf now.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
he's
mean,
already playing his retirement sport.
He's more into golf. He likes to do stuff outside of basketball, which is fine. But
Right, sure.
I don't think his head is in the right place to be playing professional basketball. I don't think he cares about it that much. Anthony Davis, like,
He's washed. He's on the Wizards. Anybody who goes to the Wizards is automatically washed.
even before that, like, you get
Injury
one
prone.
injury, you're out for 2 months. Like,
Yeah.
no, this is a leave it for me. I mean, I know, like, are you excited about it? I'm not.
I honestly am not for it. I mean, it'd be fun, they get all the publicity, like
Right,
they're
like
gonna,
big names.
But they had their chance. They did it in the Olympics, and they won. That was their only chance and only time they're ever going to do it. I don't think they should do it here, at all. I mean, I think LeBron wants it more than Curry, in my opinion.
Also, like, I don't think this would be the last season for Curry anyway.
No.
Like, I don't think. I mean, how old's Curry? 36?
I
37?
think so. Something like.
I think
around
he's like 36. I think he's 36. I mean, he'll play at least a few more years, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
this
Yeah,
is-
they said he's not done.
Regardless of what team, this is going to be LeBron's swan song. Like, I don't. No, I'm leaving that. I don't even know how well it would work on the court together at this point. No, you're 5 years past that being a big time team.
I mean, okay, so that leads me to my next question. Hypothetically speaking, the Warriors start the next season with LeBron and Curry and Anthony Davis. If they win the championship next year, would that put an end to both LeBron and Curry's career and officially retire? Take it or leave it.
Take it because LeBron's going to retire regardless.
Yeah.
I think this is LeBron's last year. I'm
I would hope
surprised.
so.
I'm kind of surprised this wasn't his last year. I think he probably should have been. I mean, the Lakers gave Austin Reeves that big contract. You know they're going to extend Luka Doncic when that time comes. Like, LeBron's the third option on that team right now, and I don't really know how big of a contract they're going to offer him this offseason. I'll take it because I think he was going to retire anyways. But the good news is these teams they're not going to be a team, and they're not going to win the championship even if they were together, so we don't even have to worry about it.
I actually saw a last-minute thing. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
What we got?
It says... Hold on one sec. Ben Simmons is prepping to return. He said he needed some time for himself. Take it or leave it for him coming back. And you think he'll get the same amount of playing time? Like,
Leave it. He barely played before.
Yeah, I mean,
barely played before. He got a big contract, and then he was coincidentally injured all the time. Like, I'm not here to determine whether an injury is real or fake or not, but the timelines sure are a little iffy for me. Like, Ben Simmons, talented player when he's on the court.
Yeah.
It's just he's never on the court. Wasn't he like? Didn't he say he wanted to, like a year ago, say he wanted to get into like professional fishing and was like catching all
he
these
was
big?
into fishing, and there was a bunch of clips of him fishing.
He was gonna like start a pro fishing team or something like that.
Something like that.
Like, what happened to that?
He needs to stick with that, in my opinion. I mean, he doesn't need to come back to the court.
I mean,
he
he's
needs to find himself.
made plenty of money in his
Yeah.
NBA career. Like,
He was the number 1 overall pick.
well, not only that, he got a huge contract extension from the Sixers as well. Like, what's the point, I guess? I mean, I guess if you want to play, but like, who's going to give Ben Simmons an opportunity at the price tag he probably wants, I would imagine.
Right.
At this point in his career, like, hadn't played in a few years.
Doesn't really fit. He was on the Clippers in 2024, 2025 roster, but I don't see anybody taking him back. He needs to stick with the fishing. But that is it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It, and that is it for a Monday show. Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Not off the bench. Got it right that time, guys. Braxton Rizzuto, Cassie Spazzali, thanks all of you for hanging out. Look, we got a busy week. We had a jam-packed show tomorrow. A lot of LSU having Glenn West on in his normal spot. Sharif Ishak moving from 2:30 to 2 o'clock. He's a busy man with some interviews. We're talking Saints, all that and more. So stay tuned. Same time tomorrow here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
It's onebathandclosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Whenever I say remodel, you might think, oh, that's a huge project, going to cost a fortune, going to take forever, have to leave my home. Well, that stuff can happen, but that's not really what we're talking about here. To further that point, let's just talk about something simple like a tub to shower conversion. That's not massively expensive. That's not super invasive. That's not super time consuming. It's a simple process that can be done if your bathtub is not used, if it's old and dingy, if it's not functional. You take that bathtub out, put in a glass walk-in shower. It changes the aesthetic, changes the functionality of your bathroom, adds value to your home. David Duvall and his team can help you with it every step of the way. They handle everything. You don't call him and then call the guy to handle this part, and this guy handles the floor. And one contractor, one call. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online at onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation and get that process started today. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online. onebathandclosets.com.